Hey guys, how's it going? It's a glorious morning out here. 59 degrees currently. It just feels so refreshing and wonderful. I could work in like 50 to 70 degrees is my jam. So this is just absolutely perfect. It is gonna heat up to 100 today, but it'll take a long time to do that. And it looks like we've got about 5 more days that will reach about the 100 mark. And then it looks like we're gonna go down into the 80s. I'm here for it. I'm so excited. We've got a gorgeous bunch of plants we're going to be working with today, but I wanted to start off by giving you an update on those oak leaf hydrangeas, the Gatsby pink oak leaf hydrangeas we planted on July 25th. First, here's a little peek at what we're going to be working with today. Doesn't it just look so fresh and lush? And of course, hey Russell, what you doing, buddy? Got to get that little orange accent in there whenever possible. Huh. Look at this though, you guys. Reminiscent Crema. This is one of the new roses from Proven Winners, and I am in love with the color. Love it so much. That creamy white, and then it kind of goes down to that aged soft yellow. Yes, you are so neglected, Russell. So neglected. Gotta get the pets in. Sun just streaming through. Okay guys, so first off, you'll notice the boxwoods are very woolly. I do plan on trimming those next week. All of our boxwood hedges, all of our boxwood shaped things, topiaries around here, when it goes down into the 80s, usually that's a good time to get them trimmed, and then they should have enough time to acclimate so we don't deal with a bunch of tip burn. You know, if you do it too late and it gets cold too fast and you've just exposed all that fresh growth, that can cause quite a bit of damage. I've done it before a couple of times. So I'm gonna try to hit the window just right, and hopefully it doesn't get real cold really fast. But that's gonna really make the space look nice. We planted the oak leaves right around the base of the new blue spruce tree, which is doing beautifully. Still have a branch, I think I showed you that earlier. I need to cut one branch out, but my goodness, this tree has done really well. And so have these hydrangeas. I really wanted to give you an update, one, because we planted them when it was hot. Like really hot. I mean, towards the end of July, that's a little bit risky, riskier than when it's cooler, of course, but they've put on such beautiful color since we put them in the ground. Look at their blooms. So they start out a beautiful white, and then they age to this pink later on in the season, and we get to enjoy this color through the rest of the fall. So look at that one, and the foliage looks really good too. Really good. You can see that one. This one gets a little more sun, so we've got a little bit more, like blooms have a tiny bit of brown on them, which I kind of expected. In fact, I expected them really not to perform as well as they have, you know, given the fact that we planted them when we did. Swing around this way. Oh, can you, okay, so imagine this oak leaf hydrangea filling up this space, because these grow 6 to 8 feet tall and wide. With the Russian sage in front, you can see a sedum's trying to, like, with all its might, pop through that Russian sage there. But I think that that purple and the beautiful pink just looks so beautiful and soft. Here's another one right here. And then I did show you the way these looked, these two oak leaves. When I planted these, they were much smaller than this. These are a Gatsby Gal, so a slightly different variety than the ones, but they're fairly similar. Because you can see, like over here, this one did get some blooms on it. You can see some color there, but these were broken this spring. Like, I had to cut so much dead out of them. And then when I showed them to you, when I was planting these, they were all wilted and looked pretty sad. So I'm really thrilled that they have clearly kind of found their stride, I guess, and now they're going for it. It's always fun when you have a success story, because that doesn't always happen. Let's talk about this rose first. Reminiscent Crema, zone 4 through 9. And there's also a reminiscent coral and pink as well in this line. So new for 2023, and they don't get huge, like 1.5 to 3 feet tall and 2 feet wide, which makes them really easy to tuck in. I always love those types that stay a little smaller. We can put this a little bit closer to the edge of a border, which will be great. And the fragrance right now is fairly light, but it is fairly chilly out, and usually the fragrance gets better as it warms up. So I'm gonna check it later on today. I actually have not smelled this rose in the middle of the day. I think it's been a while, but I've kind of explained what their rose testing is like, because when we had the chance to go to Michigan, boy, it's been several years ago now, we went to Spring Meadow Nursery, which is like the home of Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs, and it's where they do a lot of their testing and all of that. So when we came upon a couple of greenhouses just stuffed full with roses. I thought, what in the world is going on here? So what they do, they get thousands of different types, different varieties of roses sent to them, or they're trialing these things out. One of the first things they do is they throw them all together in a greenhouse with no ventilation, no air circulation, overhead water, and you know, it's hot and humid in Michigan anyway, and they see what kind of varieties can make it through that sort of situation. And I'm not sure the time frame, like how long they leave them in there, but you know, a lot of roses, you deal with fungal issues and things like that. So only the ones that come through that testing phase will go on to the next testing phase, and then they do several other steps before it actually makes it into the line, which is nuts. So I mean, they could be testing one variety for years and years before it actually makes it out. So this Reminiscent series has, and it's just a really tough rose. It will keep blooming even if you don't deadhead it, and the pruning is easy too. So in the spring you go in, I think you just cut it back by about 1/3 is what they recommend. So I'm looking forward to trying this one out. This next one right here, we've got 3 of them. It's a new type of Beautybush called Jolene. It's available next year, and it doesn't grow as big as the traditional beauty bushes. So like, I think, and well, if I'm wrong, we'll put it on the screen because this plant is new to me. 3 to 6 feet tall and 4 to 6 feet wide, I believe, in a zone 4 through 8. So I guess we could check the tag. Yeah. Zone 4 through 8, 3 to 6 feet tall and 4 to 6 feet wide. And it blooms with kind of star-shaped pink blooms in the spring. Best part about this one is that it does say it prefers higher pH soil. Boom, check, I can give it that. The habit of these, and maybe we can put a picture of a more mature version of them on the screen, but they've got just this very graceful kind of growth habit that I love. Kind of pinkish stems and just a really nice medium green color. Okay, the next one we have here is a variety of elderberry that's been around for a while, but I love it. So it's a lemony lace. So look at the color of the stems, kind of like a purplish pink, and then this bright kind of chartreuse green yellow leaf. And I love these because they are a good thing to use in place of like a Japanese maple, which we are going to be planting one of those today. But in our climate, Japanese maples don't do the sun like they can in more mild climates, but these can. And these kind of have a similar look. So it just gives us the ability to have that beautiful texture and that beautiful color out in a sunnier location. They're also super tough, so a zone 3 through 7, and they grow about 4 to 7 feet tall and wide. We had 3 of these, I think, below our pine trees. Do you guys remember that? We had 3 lemony lace, and then I had Japanese maple in the middle, and then a bunch of autumn frost hosta and brunnera around the base of them, and it was a very beautiful look. All of those plants were dug up and either rehomed or moved around. The lemony lace did go to a different one of our friends' houses, so I'm ready to get some in our garden. And that brings us to our last plant for today. This is a Metamorphosa. Metamorphosa, am I saying that right? Japanese maple. So brand new for next season, we're going to be putting this in a container right there. And like I said, Japanese maples just tend to scorch in our sun. So if we can find a spot that either has a good block of morning sun or filtered sun, you know, dappled light through the day, that's kind of perfect. But that's why I always kind of lean on putting Japanese maples in containers. I always think of a container when I have a Japanese maple because it makes it easy to move around. If I have it in a spot where it doesn't seem happy, I can shift its location. And typically Japanese maples like a more acidic soil, so I can amend the soil a little bit easier in a container than I can in the ground. I did bring out some soil acidifier. I don't know that I'm gonna I might use it, but it says, I was doing some reading on this variety since it's a brand new one to me, and it says that it's actually very adaptable and really any type of soil will do, which that's amazing. But this one is a little bit more shrubby than some of the other maples. And this one, it's got quite a range of where it may top out at maturity. So anywhere from 5 to 13 feet tall and 3 to 10 feet wide. So we'll just see what happens. Usually we use Japanese maples as kind of like a medium-sized shrub accent here because they typically don't thrive enough to get to their full, you know, potential. They do it a lot of the time, but they just, you know, we're a little harsh of a climate for them. It is a zone 5 through 8, and you can see the new growth. It comes out yellow and then it develops a pink margin right there. And then as the season progresses, you'll notice a little bit more white variegation in there and maybe some like kind of orange pink hues. And in the fall, I guess the fall color on this is stunning. Like a bright orange red to like a magenta red. I think that is going to be so pretty. And look at the pot I picked. Okay. It's gonna kind of sit down in there because we got to build the soil up, but I think that dark gray will set this lighter colored foliage off really nicely. It'll be beautiful contrast. Okay, we should probably get out and plant. I always like to give you guys all the details right in the beginning because it's before I get really sweaty. Although I don't know how sweaty I'm gonna get because it's so nice out. Okay, let's do it. All the in-ground planting is done. We'll go tour that here in a minute, but I found the perfect spot for this maple. We're still gonna put it in a container, but I'm gonna nest it in right behind these 3 Hudson Bay hostas. I do have a bottle brush near it, which looks like it's not getting quite enough water, so I'll look into that. But I think having a container right here with that beautiful maple will be perfect. Let's see, shall we? course, I forgot to put drip in it before I put soil in. See how we can do this here. Oh my goodness, that is perfect right there. There are some white bleeding hearts, which I sidestepped one of them. It's like right to the side of it, that come up in the spring, bloom beautifully, and then they kind of just fizzle back to the ground. Kind of forgot about those until I started rooting around, but I did miss those. And these Hudson Bays, I can't remember the exact size, like exactly how big they get, but I think they'll fill in this space, and I think that is just so pretty right there. And you can see that, I mean, we're morning now, and it's gonna get a nice little bit of morning sun. It can soak that in, and then it's gonna be protected for the rest of the day. It's underneath this lilac. There's a locust up above. So I think it's gonna be happy here. Now I did set it up on drip, so it's in there, kind of buried under the soil so you can't see the drip tube. And then if you follow it down here, you can see where the tube hooks into our drip line. Kind of perfect that the drip line ran right immediately behind it. Sometimes you have to go a distance to find one. I don't plan on leaving this Japanese maple out in this container all winter long because, you know, after everything loses its leaves and, you know, it is pretty exposed right here. It's on the west side of our house and it can get cold. I mean, we're a zone 6, I don't trust it. I still usually plant like we're a zone 5 because that's how it was my entire life until about 2 or 3 seasons ago. So anyway, I just feel like especially Japanese maples in containers, they could benefit from a little bit of protection. We do plan on putting up one of our high tunnels on the new property. So it's a space that'll be a little bit warmer than it is outside, but it won't be heated or anything like that. So it can still get the cold period that it needs to thrive, but then it'll be protected from any like weird cold snaps or any kind of extreme weather. The barn would be another place that I could store it, somewhere that's not heated, but it's a little bit more protected, and they don't need light through the course of the winter. They're, you know, no leaves to soak in any of the sunshine. It's not like an evergreen. Evergreens you need to keep out somewhere where there's still light. So, you know, and then in the early spring you can kind of start graduating it, acclimating it back out to outside before it starts to leaf. Anyway, that is my plan. So I will snip the irrigation, we'll put it somewhere protected for the winter, and then bring it back out next spring. There are a couple other real pretty things up here right now. I mean, look at those limelight hydrangeas. They're just so pretty right there. And then another thing, so I had sweet peas in here for the spring and I just left them in, and maybe in hindsight I should have taken them out. There's still some blooms, but you know, we've got some dried up seed pods and things like that, which means I might have some sweet peas. If the seeds rolled out, I might have sweet peas come up in here. But this is the Catalina pink Torrenia right here. I used it in a couple different spots and I've been really, really happy with it because this container, like right now, early morning, gets quite a bit of sun, but then it's shaded for the whole rest of the day. And it's a really good one for a shadier location where you want some interest. I think the wishbone flower is another name for it. So there's Torrenia here, and there's a Torrenia in this container, which is kind of a little bit of a mess of a container, but the Torrenia looks really good. My geraniums, so I planted some, are they Americana coral or something? I don't know. They have not really performed. I mean, there's some blooms on them and they're healthy enough, but as far as vigor goes, they're not keeping up. Okay, everything else is out in the south garden. Let's head that direction. Okay, starting over here in this corner, I planted 2 of the Beautyberries, the Jolene. One of them ended up right here. So we've got a lot of pretty things in this area. We've got the Limelight Prime hedge. Aren't those looking so pretty? Let me go on the other side where the light's shining on them. Just look at those. Oh, imagine when they are their full size. I almost thought, you know, I should maybe pop another one in between. I think these get 4 to 6 feet tall and wide, so they might barely, I think there's gonna still be space between them. So if I want a really solid hedge, I could add extra ones. I don't know, or even like bump one back a little bit so it's a super thick hedge. But I think this is gonna be really pretty because this has the potential of being bigger than these. Even if it's not, it'll be a really pretty different foliage texture, and it'll be spring color here rather than, you know, summer and fall interest here. And we've got some other spring interest in this area. We've been working on it. We've got some snowball bushes. There's one there, one back in there, and one over there. And then we also have a lilac right here. I think that's the white one. So we'll have a lot of white in this area, and then we'll have the pink here. I was noticing, so I've got these gorgeous Apache Rose panicums. Look at those. I used these in a fall container last year. And the reason I know that I used these in a fall container and then repurposed them out here is because all the way around them, we've got mums. Look at this. It's like a little bouquet right here, like I sunk a container right down in the ground. I can't remember what color they are, probably a bronze, I'm guessing. And we noticed them coming out this spring, and we just thought, well, let's just leave them, see what happens. Kind of funny. So there's that one right there. Look at that. And then the other one is just beyond this beautiful drift of Superbena Imperial Blue. I think this right here is total like 9 plants. Isn't that phenomenal? Definitely my favorite annual this year for sure. We've got some really pretty Agastache here. We've got a Serviceberry Autumn Brilliance. And then there's the other Jolene. We've got a Pennisetum, that's the Lemon Squeeze. And then the, what is this, Coral Reef, is that right? Phlox, looks like it needs a little attention. But anyway, I think this will be a really beautiful shape and structure here. Okay, this looks like it's blown. Let me fix this quick. Oh, I can't, it's sheared off. Okay, note to self, come back out and fix this later. This little island of annuals has been a hummingbird magnet. Those cannas, geez, plant cannas if you want hummingbirds. Okay, they all ended up over here. So we've got the beginnings of our rock path here. On the left side, I popped one of the crema roses. And you can see I put it in with some other sedums that stay lower. There's a purple haze buddleia, and then the serendipity alliums. And I really want, in the end, I want there to be just a mass of plants. I don't want to see a ton of soil. So that's why I just tucked this one in. And thankfully it's not a massive rose. So I think it'll work just perfect right there. And then on this side, see I'm casting a shadow. Let me go to the other side here. So on this side, you can see the 3 lemony lace. Beautiful bright pop of green, well, lemony green right here. We've got Arctic yellow dogwood, so that green shrub there, and then the one over there, and then there's one right there. And those took a minute. I actually thought I was gonna lose one completely. I cut one completely to the ground because it had a bunch of black stems after last winter. I'm not sure exactly what happened because it was a fairly mild winter. Maybe it dried out a little bit too much, but they have rebounded and are gorgeous now. We've also got a couple of buddleias, the purple haze, and then I think that's a blue chip something, I don't know. See the darker purple one there? And then I put 4 of the reminiscent crema roses right here, kind of tucked in front of the lemony lace. And then it's gonna be a little bit of a drift so that I can come in with something else right in front of those. But that white, that creamy, oh, it's opened up even more. That creamy yellow white with that purple haze, so pretty. Let me smell it. Still not a ton of fragrance from this one. And then I planted the last of the Jolene right in this spot here. I've got a few things. I think that's what kind of hibiscus is that? It's got dark leaves, lighter pink blooms. Forgot it was there and planted a Jerusalem sage right there. So hopefully, I don't know, I might need to move that one over here. Anyway, I think that's gonna be real nice. a really nice step up from the other things we've got going on in here. And you guys, that is it for planting projects this morning. What fun to be out here when it's cool, put some beautiful things in the ground and fill up even more space out here. I just absolutely love it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, everybody. See you in the next one. Bye.